Hi everybody, Jeff Yastine here. You know, recently I was in Cuba, of all places. Now, I've been there 3 times now. These are a few photos from my past times. That was in the early 1990s, and then in 2003, and then there a few months ago with my family. In addition to doing the normal sort of touristy things, what I noticed most was something that's sweeping the rest of Latin America as well, which is why we need to pay attention to it as investors. And that is internet addiction, pure and simple. If you walk around Havana, you turn a corner into a park or a plaza, anywhere near like a Wi-Fi hotspot, and there just aren't many of them in Latin America. The regime still controls the internet to a large degree there, though it is slowly opening up. But the key point here is that you turn a corner and suddenly you see all these people sitting on park benches or leaning against walls, and they're all doing the same thing, staring at their phones, surfing the internet the same way the rest of us do here. To me, this puts an exclamation point on the growth of internet usage outside the US that most of us tend to miss, and it's a key opportunity. According to a recent survey of online habits globally, Brazil and Colombia ranked among the top 5 countries in the world in terms of the amount of time that people spend staring at their screens. To give you an example, number 1 was the Philippines, where people spend more than 10 hours a day just on their phones surfing the internet. Now, the part I find so exciting is that the internet ecosystem, if you will, which is cheap, powerful devices, faster internet connections, and a growing community of web entrepreneurs, it's just getting started in emerging markets like Latin America. For instance, while US e-commerce is growing at roughly 10 to 15% a year, it's growing by leaps and bounds elsewhere. For instance, in Mexico, e-commerce sales are growing by roughly 50% a year. In Indonesia, it's growing 78% a year. In Turkey, it's growing 37% a year. And that's just naming a few. Now, I already have 3 positions based on these kinds of trends in the Total Wealth Insider portfolio, and they're all pushing higher nicely by double-digit amounts. The other thing to consider here is that if you think about the US market, it's largely tapped out in terms of looking for companies that aren't already fully or perhaps overvalued, and companies that are either at their peak growth or perhaps past their time of peak growth. As where, if you're willing to explore off the beaten path a bit, you can find plenty of undervalued, little-known internet stocks that are growing by leaps and bounds, again, if you're willing to look beyond just the US and perhaps China and Europe. Something to consider as we move forward here. There's a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity for internet usage and internet e-commerce opportunities of all kinds in emerging markets and especially in Latin America. If you like what I'm talking about, remember to click the screen for more information. Until then, I'm Jeff Yastine.